Ciao everyone, it's Marchettino, and today we're gonna talk about the running cost of my Ferrari. So guys, today I'm sitting in my 355 and due to big demand, today we're gonna talk about the running cost of my Ferrari. Of course, I wanted to wait a little bit prior making this video because first I wanted to cover some miles and realize what is the price to pay for daily driving a Ferrari 355. And it's crazy to think about it, but time really flies. I own this car since already 1 year. I bought this car the first week of March, but then all of a sudden the first lockdown came here in Italy and I couldn't drive the car. Second, the previous owner of this car was Italian, but he registered the car in Luxembourg, so it took me quite some time to register the car, and this made me possible to drive the car and show it to you just in May. So first thing, let's talk about prices, because I like to check out the market quite often, and today here in Europe, average prices of the 355 swing from 75 up to 90,000 euros. People ask even more money, but that's crazy to me. You can even find a cheaper 355 below 75,000 euros, but most of them have a higher mileage, a poor service history, and most of them are with the F1 transmission, which is not very desired on this car. So when it comes to my 355, in order to register it in Italy, I had to pay about 1,800 euros. But that's not all, because here we have also an eco tax, and I am supposed to pay about 2,500 euros for this. Hopefully just once, it's not every year. What you have to pay every year is the annual car tax, and hopefully this car being quite old, it's not that expensive because this car is historic and I pay just 600 euros every year. Same as the insurance, hopefully it's not that expensive, I pay about 600 euros. But the ironical thing is that when it comes to the annual car tax and insurance, these are the same prices I pay for my way cheaper Honda S2000. So once you pay all these things, you're ready to turn the key and drive the Ferrari. But once I did it, I did about 5 meters, I realized that I had to buy a brand new set of tires because the previous owner sold me this car with a set of 18 years old tires. It was scary, seriously, it was like driving on ice all the time. So first thing, a brand new set of summer Michelin tires. Hopefully the size of the tires of the 355, it's not that big, so the tires are not that expensive. For the summer set, I've paid about 610 euros. And as you've seen in the videos, on winter time, I really enjoy this car, especially in the snow. So I bought also a second set of tires, of course winter tires, and I paid it about 530 euros. So with a brand new set of tires, I'm doing lots of happy miles with it, and I think most people love to ask me, Marco, what's the real fuel consumption of this car? Well, it's not that bad, honestly. Of course, every time I use it, it's hard to drive it slowly. I always love to drive it in the red line zone. I don't really short shift. So fuel consumption on my average is about 5 kilometers per liter. On my M3 E92 it was worse. I used to spend more money on gas on the BMW rather than with the Ferrari. And I made a calculation, I did about 4,000 kilometers in the last 12 months, so I've spent about 1,300 euros of gas, which is not that bad to me. And guys, if you're considering to buy a Ferrari 355, make sure that the car has this important piece of paper. This is the most important document you can find on this car. This is the maintenance book, so you find all the history of the car, all the maintenance done. When you have such kind of car, make sure to do most of the maintenance officially at Ferrari, because it's very important to have this stamp from Ferrari, because this doesn't only make it easier to resell the car, but you can ask even more money. And I'm quite happy to have bought this car because it has a full service history at Ferrari. Only Ferrari stamps on this car. And according to the maintenance book, every year you have to make the classic service, which means you have to replace the engine oil and the filter. If you do it officially at Ferrari, it's gonna cost you about 900 to 1000 euros. And honestly, this is not a kind of maintenance that most Ferrari owners do every year, because cars like this don't really get driven very much. So honestly, it doesn't make much sense to do this every year. And now let's talk about expensive expenses, because if you're planning to buy a Ferrari 355, just keep in mind that every 4 years you have to do the major service, which includes the replacement of the timing belt. And in order to do that, you have to literally take the engine off the engine bay. So you may understand that this is quite pricey. If you do that at Ferrari, you're gonna spend at least 6,000 euros. I say at least because once the mechanics take the engine off and they see some parts that are worn or need to be replaced, well, the bill can only go up. And it's very important to replace the timing belt, because over the time it gets dry, it gets worn, and after 4 years you have to do that, because if the timing belt breaks, you break the engine. And sadly, while researching for my 355, I noticed that many of them are up for sale with this major service that really needs to be done. Hopefully I bought this car with a major service done recently, so this car is okay until 2023. So if I consider to keep the car at least until 2023, I need to keep in mind that this is gonna be a very expensive build. Talking about expensive expenses, that's not all, because the weak point of this car are the headers. Back in the days, Ferrari produced this car with some kind of headers that tend to crack over the time. So sooner or later, if you have a 355, you have to do that. And a brand new set of headers, it's gonna cost you about 5,000 euros. And if you want to enhance the exhaust note of the car, and I mean, you have to do that. Just listen to that. Well, the price to pay for a full exhaust system, depending also on the material, because we have stainless steel, titanium, Inconel, the price may swing between 10 to 15,000 euros. So prior to buying my first Ferrari, I was seriously worried not just about the classic running cost, but about the unexpected running cost, which may lead into a failure, something that breaks down. And well, we're talking about the spare parts to be bought at Ferrari with the Ferrari's labor, so it may be something very expensive. So when I decided to buy a 355, I wanted to make sure to buy a car that was in impeccable mechanical conditions. So far, so good. The only unexpected expenses were truly minor. I mean, I had a minor leak of the steering wheel fluid that it has cost me 130 euros. As you know, I'm restoring the interior to its original conditions. I got rid of the infotainment, but the previous owner has thrown a couple of things that I needed. So I have paid 200 euros for a new trim of the radio. It's coming shortly. I've spent 120 euros for a new full cap button, as well as the new clock. And I just need now this plastic part of the central tunnel, and then I'm done. I'm ready to put all these things inside and make the Ferrari 355 interior look like stock. And this, guys, was my honest review of the 1 year running cost of my Ferrari 355. I think so far everything is acceptable. I hope not to have any major unexpected bill. I cannot wait to share a lot more content with you guys, cover a lot more miles with the car, and as always, thanks for the support. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. And as always, thanks for watching. Ciao!